Today we're going to talk about the concept of golden handcuffs. And I don't really have a solution for the golden handcuffs now. If you're not familiar with it, we'll explain what that means. But first, started my day at 4:30, was doing some recording. Actually, I was doing some recording last night. I kept everything set up for recording. I'll show you that in a minute. And was planning to do some mixing and some recording this morning. And then a client contacted me right away. And that's kind of the golden handcuffs. But first, we have to get breakfast together and get the dogs out. Most days we get the dogs out either before sunrise, where I take them out in the hills, or after breakfast, where we take a walk. And today I just kind of took them to the edge of the property and we threw some frisbee for them. So now we're coming back and kind of do the rest of this video, show you what I'm working on this morning and the day in the life of a songwriter slash author slash consultant slash perpetually interested in a variety of things. So I'll show you what I'm working on this morning, which is basically getting my mixes ready for the 6 songs on Troubled Mind, plus responding to some early morning client things to address, and then I'll be knee deep into programming, and then doing some additional music recording stuff. So as well as, gosh, I think we have some photography stuff going on. Deb's got to get some pictures of me for the CD. All right, so I'm sitting here at my desk. This is where I do work for my clients. I do data analytics software. I write systems for kind of automating reporting or document assembly, things like that. Kind of workplace software that streamlines and automates what people do. But, and that pays pretty well, specifically when I focus on my clients' work. So I work independently, I work out of the house, but you know, it can be pretty lucrative. And over the years, as much as I've wanted to move to more artistic pursuits, whether that's writing, I have a couple books out, or whether it's making music, I've toured around the country a few times. I've really had a hard time letting go of those golden handcuffs being the technology work I do. Like I say, it pays pretty well, and it's hard to walk away from that. And I'm not saying I don't like it, but having done it for 25, 30 years, you know, I'm ready to explore some other things. So I've yet to be super successful at doing so, of course. So we're working on changing that. And what we're working on doing is leveraging our time a little bit better. I can tell you the things I've done in the last really several months. One of those things is I'm far less active on social media. I just don't log in for days at a time. One of the objectives I took on this last year that until recently I wasn't being very successful at was I want to create 10 times more content than I consume, at least. And that means that I can't go watch 30 minutes of YouTube video if I'm not creating 10 times more than that, right? So, gosh, is that 30 minutes, 10 times, what is that? 5 hours? I have to create 5 hours of content for 30 minutes to watch 30 minutes of video. I guess something like that. I guess where I fudge on that a little bit is listening to podcasts when I'm taking a walk. So I've got the earbuds in my ear and I'm listening to Joe Pug's podcast, Freakonomics, This American Life, or whatever it is that I've decided to tune into. But when it comes to what I'm doing at the house, when I get up in the morning, I just avoid... I'll check out something on YouTube if I'm looking for specific information about something. So maybe I'm mixing and I'm trying to figure out how to apply this effect the appropriate way. I might find a couple videos on that, although I view that a little bit different than just viewing content. But what I won't do is just get up and, look at, random videos and get caught up in that, or look at, minute after minute of shorts or whatever the case may be. I really want to focus on the creation of content. So as I said this morning, up at 4:30, start to get work on some of the mixing I'm doing. I'll show you that in a minute. Had a little writing stuff going on. So I've got my binder here and I've got my songwriting binder, which I wrote some notes in. And then almost immediately I was contacted by a client. One of the reports, they were concerned about the numbers. They thought there were some discrepancies. So I had to jump into that a little bit so I can get them an answer. Turns out I think my numbers were accurate. Well, I know they were. So we've devised a way so that they know how to self-correct their data so it goes into the reports properly. Boring. But either way. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I know this is a struggle for a lot of people. I've met a number of people that have amazing talent in another area, whether it's creating music or creating art or acting or whatever the case may be, but they also work in a field that pays them pretty well. And that's kind of the concept of the golden handcuff. And so as I work through this, just so you understand, my objective is not to let go of developing software. I have a couple of software ideas I want to develop, but to guard my time more carefully. And that means avoiding interruptions, avoiding being distracted by things that take me off my path. Don't spend as much time on social media. And to be honest, don't spend as much time, with friends or other activities. Just be very careful and intentional about that time and try and guard it. And then maximize the use of my time. So one of the things is keeping my office in a state of ready to record the bulk of the time. And I've done some things. I showed you the tour last time where I have some clips so I can put a blanket up to baffle noise and also light from outside, which I'm doing right now, as well as just have the other stuff ready to go so I can record. So I'll kind of show you what we were doing. And this is kind of our life in our office. So first of all, I'm working on a mix here, but behind the scenes, I've got things open that related to client systems. And so I'm going to be doing some vocals today, but I'm going to take a break, do some work for a client, and based on getting a few hours of things done, I can then break away and kind of freely record vocals so that I'm allocating time in the most appropriate way possible, or the most effective way. But let me show you what I've got set up over here. So I mentioned the thick moving blanket that really baffles much of the noise. There's the clips up there. So that baffles much of the noise coming from the freeway, certainly enough for me to get halfway decent recording. Then I've got my Rode microphone set up here, which I do most of my vocals with. And I've got another blanket set up to baffle that noise. And that works pretty effectively. It works well enough for what I'm going to be putting out. And so that's kind of set up and ready to go. I'll show you the vocals I was working on, but I'm also going to show you something else. You saw my light here, LED light. Let's get out of the way of that. Kind of head out here. Yesterday, Deb and she's trying to get some photographs for the cover of Troubled Mind. And sorry about any mess you see. We've kind of been taking the kitchen down and bringing stuff downstairs that we don't need. Once again, the ultimate objective being we're going to be doing some work on the house to prepare it to sell, and maybe after the first of the year we'll be moving to Northern California, Humboldt specifically. But anyways, so we had this umbrella set up for photography. I was kind of sitting there, And we had that backdrop. And we're doing some pictures last night, and we plan to do some more of those this afternoon. Deb's trying to get a certain image for the Troubled Mind EP. And we thought about it and just said, you know, one of our goals is, as we move to another location, let me fix this light. As we move to another area, if we find the right house that we're looking for, that we have enough space to create kind of a studio, photography space, and a music space. So that's one of the objectives we're looking at. And hopefully in doing that, we can have things set up at all times. Because right now, our living room is basically a photography studio, which is totally cool. We don't really use the living room. I don't remember the last time I sat on the couch in there. And, you know, I told Debbie yesterday, I said, we might as well take the couch and put it up in the loft and take the other hutch unit and put it on the other side of the table and clear everything out here and just keep it as a studio at all times. And I know that sounds odd, but our life is really, we're trying to design it so that we work on artistic pursuits and we can ultimately, hopefully monetize those. She's creating some product today, particularly a couple t-shirts to go with Troubled Mind EP, and hoping to promote that, and then we're going to create some promotional videos. So anyways, wanted to give you an insight as to kind of what Golden Handcuffs were and what I'm trying to do to combat them. I'm not trying to shed them, I'm just trying to make sure their grip is less tight, and I think I can do that by properly allocating my time. So if you watch this and you're working on something similar, if you're an artist, a musician, or you have any other pursuit, an actor, whatever it is, and you're also locked into something that pays you pretty well, how does that impact you? What's the challenge of moving away from that? Is there fear? There certainly was for me. I have responsibilities I'm supposed to take care of, and I'm sure we all do. So how does that impact you? Does it hinder you from pursuing your art? And if you could correct it, what would you do? I gave you some of my ideas. Let's see how they work out. And thanks for tuning in. Oh, by the way, if you could, if you haven't subscribed or you haven't, you know, then please do so. Also, you know, share the video if you found it interesting. Let people know about my music and the other stuff I'm doing. I'd appreciate it a ton. Thank you so much. See ya. And for the second time while shooting this video, I forgot to show you what I wanted to show you, which really is the mix. So once again, I added vocals. I like the verses fine, or I think they're pretty good, but the choruses I didn't like. But let's take a look at where we're at with that. Oops. We're gonna have to bring that to the forefront. Here we go. You can hear me making noise in the background. Watch, I'm gonna try to loosen my, here we go.
I once believed that I was a good man until I was exposed to the darkness within.
Okay.
And then you found me and I found my religion.
Of course I didn't like so much.
Sacrificed it all to the song and the sin. Well, I jumped from the pan right into the fire.
Wow.
Fell from on high to the valley below, turning my back on what I've known and I was making peace with the war in my soul.
So that's what we're going to work on today. Anyways, once again, if you're dealing with the Golden Handcuff situation, let me know about it. Love to hear from you. Thanks.
Mama told me, son, you are here for a reason, but I've lost my way so many times. The destiny, it feels like a dried up old river, and I'm like a prophet missing all of the signs.